spring of 2024, I was taking an interpersonal communications class. And I was taking that class because I knew at some point I'd be here. I knew at some point I would be coaching. I knew at some point that I would be speaking to others. I knew I would be helping people live their best lives. And so I needed to have the language. I needed to have the knowledge to help other people do that. While taking this course, there was a part of the class that was talked about, and it's called intrapersonal communication, which is communication with yourself. And I learned so much more for myself in that class, and specifically in that part of the book or that part of the class, because there were so many things that I was still dealing with my friendships, my relationships, family, whatever it was. I was still dealing with so many different things that I had not yet healed from, and so many things I had not yet addressed. And so in particular, there was one thing that kept showing up in my life. When I felt that I was being dismissed, or I felt like someone was not taking my advice, whether it was solicited or not, I would get very angry. And again, whether I felt they weren't taking my advice or they didn't allow me to be my whole self, so many different things. But because there were different people, or it was different people, I thought it was a different situation. And so I had all these issues where I was angry with people. I was angry with those that I loved the most. I was angry all the time, trying to figure out what was wrong with me. And more importantly, at the time, what was wrong with them? How can I fix this? And very shortly after this intrapersonal communication section, I'm talking to my friend, and my friend says, "Hey, you should Google emotion words." And so all this time I've been having conversations with people, and I'm trying to intellectualize what I'm feeling, why I'm feeling it, how they can do better, all this stuff. And I was in therapy. I really was. I was in therapy. I was in this class, and my friend says, Google emotion words. And as I start Googling these emotion words and looking for the thing that I felt, it ended up being the word dismissed. I felt in different situations, I felt dismissed. I felt like if someone wasn't giving me enough space to say what I felt dismissed. If they were trying to help me, but they didn't take the time to ask what I had already done, I felt dismissed. Friendships, my wife, my kids, my in-laws, so many different relationships that I had where once I found this word, I was able to process, I was able to move forward, I was able to go back and apologize. I was able to clearly speak up for myself. I was able to do so many things once this thing clicked, once I had the right tool. And that is what today's episode is about. It is about finding the right tools and finding the right resources to do the things that you want to do and get to the places that you want to get to. So often we find ourselves stuck, and we find ourselves using old tools or tools that don't work. And when those things happen, we assume wrongly that we are the problem. We assume that we are the issue. We assume that we're the ones carrying this massive weight, and nobody understands and nobody gets us. And there's just no way that we can change and we can grow. But if we're walking the simple shift method, if we're walking through these deep dives, if we're practicing our emotional intelligence, if we're jumping in and we're not afraid of failure, if we are aware of where this growth mindset and fixed mindset is helping or hurting us, well, then it is much easier to find better tools to do the things that we're trying to do. So often, again, we find ourselves stuck, and it's not a thing of not knowing where we want to go. It may just be, I don't have the right tool. The moment that I saw the word dismissed and what it meant, such a weight lifted off of me. All of a sudden, it was so internal. It wasn't a thing of they need to try harder, they need to do this. I could see people's intent for what it was. And now I could take ownership of what I felt and what I perceived. It was the coolest thing. And so if you are trying to change your life and you're trying to do new things, one, it's going to be hard, which we talked about. Two, I have to know I can change. But three, I have to know what tools I'm using and what tools work well for me. And so we want to reframe all these things that we feel and that we carry and make sure we're using the right tools. There's a client that I've worked with for a while, and so much of her journey with her body, her weight, how she views herself, everything that she has tried for so long, all of these things have been the right tools, but not used well, or the wrong tool used too long. And so then she keeps putting this on herself that something's wrong with her because the tools don't work. And it's not that the tools don't work. It's just that they aren't the right tools for the right job, for the job she's trying to accomplish. After talking about tools and resources in the method, I wanted to come back into a deep dive of these tools and really give you a picture of how big and how wide the tools are. Because again, we get so focused on doing this thing that we tend to get tunnel vision, and then we're just locked in and life is over, and we're stuck because we didn't do the right thing or didn't do the best thing. But in actuality, there's so many tools out there. And in the previous episode, not previous, but in the last tools and resources, we talked about internal and external tools that you can use. I, again, want to widen that from just internal and external and break down the different types of tools that you can use. So when it comes to mindset tools, journaling, affirmations, habit trackers, reframing questions, all of these things are happening in my mind, my growth mindset. These are all things that I'm just saying, I can do this. I've been training for this half marathon recently, and my training plan has had me go from 3 miles, 4 miles, 5, 6, 7, 9, 11 miles. And the craziest part about it has been on my runs the day before a long run. And we're talking an hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours of just running. I out loud just say to myself, I can run for 2 hours. I can run for 2 hours. Rafer, you can run for 2 hours. You can do it. You can run for 2 hours. And just saying that over and over and over again, my body legitimately feels energized. I come home from my run, and then throughout the rest of the day, what am I doing? Telling myself that I can do it. I can crush this tomorrow. And so I did. 7.5, 9, 10. I went out and I did it. And it's very cool when in our minds we start to practice new ideas and start to tell ourselves new ideas, things that we are capable of. And so mindset tools are so great in that I can do this every day Write down the affirmations, put them on your mirror, say them every day. I am a person who is present. I am a person that can do hard things. I am a person that loves their spouse well. I am a person who loves their children well. I am a great friend. These are all things that I can just say to myself. And it all starts right here in the mind. The next type of tool or resource is your environment. And he talks about this in depth in Atomic Habits by James Clear. He says you can only do as much as your environment allows you to. And so if you always eat 3 Oreos before bed, if you don't buy Oreos, they're not in your environment, and now you don't eat the Oreos. But your physical space, your boundaries, your phone settings, all of these things, if you need to have better habits going to bed, okay, put your phone in a place where at 9, 10 o'clock, things start locking you out. Things start to shut down, the lights get dimmed or whatever it may be. But your environment can also help you do the things you're trying to do. Every night before bed, I set out my workout clothes. My phone is across the room on a charger. I have an alarm clock. I don't use my watch as my alarm because if I use my watch as my alarm, I look at it, hit the button, and I lay back down. But when the alarm is going off across the room, I have to physically get out of bed. And there's a moment where I go, well, I'm out of bed. I might as well get dressed. And so my environment helps me do the things that I am trying to do. Setting that up beforehand, that is a simple tool to just make sure I get up and work out. Do I then come down and sit on the couch for 30 minutes and waste time on Instagram and TikTok? Yes, 100%. But I'm doing it out of the bed, and I know that the moment I put my phone down, it's time to work. And so taking the time to look at my environment and what can I do to set these things up to help me. People, support systems, we talked about this as well. Having people that can hold you accountable. Yes, listening to this podcast is helpful. But who are you talking to about the things that you hear on this podcast? If you need somebody to talk to, send us a text. I'll text you right back. Text me. But having people, having coaches, having friends who can hold you accountable, it is a beautiful thing to have tools in people. Somebody who's just not going to judge and just listen to you complain about how much you hate working out or how much you hate building your business or how much this process hurts or sucks or whatever it is. Having somebody there to just listen, having somebody else who will hear everything and go, okay, what about this third option? Having good people around you will change everything for you. I guarantee it. Don't sleep on the people around you. Find some good people and find some good people and find good support systems. It is going to change your whole life. Practical things, calendars, planners, budgeting tools, time blocking apps. We talked about habit trackers. Find yourself in a rhythm. Build a new rhythm. Things that help you stick to what you said you were going to do. If I want to be a reader or I want to read more, then I need to make sure at some point every day around these 2 hours, I'm going to read 10 pages. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, I want to start working out. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. I'm going to start walking for 30 minutes a day. I need to do core work. Okay, cool. When I come downstairs, before I do anything else, after I get out of bed and I'm dressed, I'm going to grab the yoga mat and I'm going to do X amount of crunches. I want to eat better. So every time I go to the grocery store, I am going to make sure on my list There's fresh fruit. There are fresh veggies that I can use in my diet plan. Every time, having these practical things that I can do change the game. Going back to the client who was doing so many things, whether it was 75 hard or Whole 30 or keto or whatever it was, because she wasn't clear on where she was going, she had so many tools. And the tools were doing what they were supposed to do, but they weren't doing what she actually wanted them to do. And so she does it kind of, doesn't really commit to using the tool. And because she doesn't commit to using the tool, because it's not practical for her and her life, well, then things fall apart. And again, you're not stuck because there's something wrong with you. It's just the wrong tool. You gotta find the right tool. Every single time, having the right tool changes everything. This whole podcast situation, oh my gosh, I know exactly what I want to say in my mind. And I had outlines. I know how to write an outline. Yeah, okay, ChatGPT, make me an outline. Cool, it does. But I didn't like the tool. ChatGPT is great to bounce ideas off of for me, right? But to write my outline, no thank you. And then someone sends me a podcast episode and says, hey, I think the way you do things and the way you are, the way your book reads, I think you would excel in a format like this. And then I find this tool, the brief method. And every episode has been following this exact method, this outline every single time. It makes it so easy on me, and it keeps me confined to the things I want to say and the things I want to do without wasting your time for 25, 30, 45 minutes. Having the right tools changes everything. Your emotional anchors, knowing what you feel, knowing why you feel them, and processing that, being able to share with people where you are in a journey, being able to share that, know that for yourself. Knowing that for yourself allows you to keep going versus beat yourself up for not doing it. It's a game changer. And all of these tools, we talked about the external tools of learning, books and videos and podcasts and YouTube, all those things. The internal ones of consistency and determination and grit and how these things are built. But there are so many things that you can do and so many ways that you can approach this to become the person that you want to become. And so as we all know and we understand, you would not build a house with just a hammer and nails. You wouldn't go on a hike in some Nike tennis shoes. You wouldn't go empty-handed. There are so many things, obviously. We wouldn't go cook a meal knowing we don't have any pots and pans. I want to dice my chicken, but I have no knives. We wouldn't do that. We would make sure that we had all of these things so that we could complete the task. And so it's the same thing in life. Whatever the task is, whatever thing you are trying to do, make sure you have the best tool for it. Try the tool. If the tool works, awesome. Keep using it. If the tool isn't working, get a new tool. Legitimately, I just want to have a healthy body. I had a Fitbit. It was cool for steps. It was cool for like stretching, but like it wasn't giving me all the feedback I wanted. So I needed a new tool. Then I get this Garmin. I'm running. And to start, I was just running to run. Now, because I was just running to run and now I have a Garmin, it's giving me all this feedback. There's so many things that it now draws out a new task. Let's run a half marathon. Let's train. Let's take care of our body. So the Garmin is training me for the half marathon. ChatGPT, I said, hey, I need you to help me with body maintenance. I need a recovery smoothie. I need stretches, mobility. I need weights, all of it. This is what my course is going to look like. I need your help. And these tools together are transforming me into a runner, which is crazy. And having the right tools changes everything. You have to look around and you have to know what types of tools you need. Test them out, learn and adjust, and then go to the next. Again, if it's working, keep it going. If it's not working, don't be afraid to toss it to the side. You can do this. So as we close, what's a tool that you're missing that would make your life easier, that would make the shift easier? Which one of these categories jumps out to you that you're like, oh, let me actually dig into that. Where are you going and what tools do you need? Find the right tool, change your life. Find the right tool and change your life. Shift happens on purpose.